Hello, everybody. It's the Alco Diesel Guy, and please pardon my somewhat lack of voice / forced Marlon Brando invitation that I'm being forced to do due to a cold. It's kind of put my production behind, I should say, in terms of my YouTube videos. I've not been able to do voiceovers because of this situation, but I finally had enough. I'm going to just do this and see how it comes out, because I just can't stand sitting around anymore. And what this video is, as you can probably tell by this track, which is sitting in the middle here somewhat haphazardly, is going to be a Will It Run video. A couple of weeks ago, I was up in Massachusetts, actually Boston to be precise. I had planned to go to Charles Rose Supply, but they were closed for vacation. I had known that before I made the trip booking, so I was kind of committed to going up there. Luckily, I found another outfit called Northeast Trains, which actually appeared in a YouTube video here on YouTube, I should say again, was open, and sure enough, they had some things I was interested in, so I decided to make a stop there instead. Long story short, I got a few different pieces, including these two sd40-2s from Kato. Both of these are listed as no-goes. I paid $20 for each, meaning they don't work in this case, according to the language that this shop used. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them on this track here and see if I can get them running. So I don't believe these have DCC in them. Let's go pull this one out. Pull the little thing off the front here. I'm going to set my DCS 50 over here to 0, which should 00, which should allow me to run an analog engine. There it goes. It is doing it. Let's see what happens now if I throttle up. Nothing. Okay, so clearly there is something screwy with these things. Oh, I hear the motor. It's doing something. I physically hear the motor vibrating. Feels like the drive shaft is stuck. I've had this happen in HO scale, but not N scale. So I guess the next thing to do with this first one over here, which is number 81, which again, I should mention, this is number 8186, is to carefully get the shell off and see about what's going on here. Now, this is a standard, one of the more modern style Katos. It's got a very simple to install decoder thing. See, this is the light board on it. So can I, first question is, can I turn this can I turn the motor? And actually, I just knocked it loose, I think. Hold on one second. By simply turning this with my finger, the flywheel, I think I've managed to unjam it. Let's see what happens now. Pardon me, folks. It wants to turn, but it can't. This is weird. It wants to turn, but it can't. So I guess the only way to really go any further with this is to go ahead and take it apart. First step is going to be remove the stock board. I don't intend to keep these as analog. I'm going to convert them over to DCC. To get at that, I'm going to have to loosen these connections, it looks like. Here, let me actually cut my power to my DCS 50, because I don't need that. Let me get the track out of the way. Let me go grab a screwdriver here and get this apart. Okay, so I've got my cheap screwdriver over here. I'm going to use this because it's what I happen to have available. I'm going to start by undoing these two screws here and getting the actual shell off. The actual frame apart, I should mention. The focus here is going to be to gently spread this apart, the chassis itself apart just a few inches so I can get this light board out. There it goes. It pulls back, and up it comes. So I know this board is working fine, so that's not the problem. There is something clearly in the drivetrain that isn't right. Okay, so I have now I've taken off the base plate here, which holds the frame together. Just to update you what I'm doing here. Let me put some of these parts back in the box here so I don't lose them. I didn't want to actually have that rear washer come apart, but it did. I think I'm going to have to open this up to the point where it does that as well. Loosen this up a bit more. Let's see now if I can get this main chassis apart. Here's truck numero uno. I may as well take this off now. Truck seems fine. It rotates well enough. The wheels, I Not the cleanest I've seen, not the dirtiest. Somewhere in the middle. And now just carefully pull these two apart here. There we go. And there it comes. I just need to take this other assembly out. I think this light, yeah, that will hold it in place. Note to self, this is how the contacts go in place. It's actually a very simple design compared to the previous generation that was what the Atlas units were based upon. Okay, so here we have the drivetrain itself. Here's the motor. I'm noticing it feels binding already as I try to turn it. Something is not right here. So I'm wondering if it's not, or if it isn't just so happened to being this worm gear, for example. Let's see if I pull these worm gears out. This has been a common problem. I've had this issue too. SMT has run into this problem actually quite a few times in more recent times. Let me zoom you in a little bit better. Where these sort of end gears on these units, although his problem was with HO scale, I've had that mainly happen too. That these sort of bearings here, these in this case plastic bearings that sit by the worm gear that locate this in place and hold it in place so that it will turn this gear on top, which is the drivetrain for the truck itself, which actually rolls very smooth. Somehow or other are getting bound because of bad grease. And I've had this problem with Lifelike Proto 2000 and 1000 engines, mainly 1000 engines. I even had some Atlas engines that had it, so let's see if that's what's going on here. So right now I'm just using my little sponger to lift this up. I'm just going to carefully pull that right out. Nope, this seems smooth. That works smooth. Okay. Let's go on the other side here. Starting to wonder if it's not this motor that is shot. It is the motor. That's going to be a bit more of a challenge to fix. Check this one again. Oh, this one is actually bound. I think I just found my problem right here. This does not want to turn. Let me go and get my lubrication and start doing some cleanup here because it looks like I found my problem. This side here will not spin at all. And it's weird that it's just this side. But I guess this is the first time for anything. So let me go ahead and get some lubrication here and give this thing a lube job, I guess. Okay, so I have my secret weapon for this kind of job, Label 108. And yes, I did say 108. Reason being is we're working with N scale, not HO. HO requires 107, which is slightly heavier. 108 is slightly thinner, which is necessary because the equipment we're working with is smaller and thus heavier oil puts more of a strain on the motor. You can sort of get away with doing it with the heavier oil, as I understand, but I don't want to take a chance. I have the right stuff, so might as well use the right stuff. I'm just going to go and hit that. This side is also kind of slow. It's weird it's just this one worm gear assembly, but apparently it is. So I'm just going to go on here and do my usual lubrication with it. Get a little bit behind here. Don't need much, just a few drops. Oh, there's some hair in here. That I didn't see. Oh, yeah, that's much better. This thing is turning a million times better. Let me go now and put this shaft back in place. I think that might have actually been the problem. This was jammed solid. As a result, it wouldn't spin over. So let's now go get this thing back in place now. I'm going to now, if I can remember how to do this, it's been a while. The hex head lines up that way. And this goes forward. And these two blocks need to be squared. I'll try to keep you in the shot so I can show you. So the hex head lines up into this assembly here. And you know you have it in because if you do that, it'll turn. I'll show you again on the next one. And I'm just going to line this up carefully. It'd help if I could find my tweezers here. I think I have my set of tweezers someplace around here. There we go. I got that lined. Let's go work on this one since I have it out anyway. Same procedure. Take that off. Get some Label 108 on here. Oh yeah, that feels much better already. I'm wondering if this will actually fix it. Will this really be the problem? I'm also wondering if I shouldn't lube this motor, although it feels really good. Maybe I should. Let me see if I can dig my conductive lube out. But I'm thinking this is all I really need to do here is to just do this, and I think it'll work fine. So again, I'm just going to thread that into the motor shaft area. I'm going to carefully square these blocks. Oh yeah, that's smooth. Let me actually do a little lubrication on the motor since I have the stuff out here. It's going to go right here by the bearing. Touch that. Just need to touch it once. Touch that bearing. And now I've taken care of that. Now I'm going to go wash my hands before I reassemble it, because that's a common mistake which I've made in the past, and it will cause contact problems. A little soap and water will go a long way here, so I'll be right back, folks. Okay, hands all washed. It's time to put this back together. So we got this. Reversing the procedure, we're going to take this whole assembly and put this on top. Note to self again, this has to go in like that. Make sure the contact line is in place. That would work out really well if I kept it like that, you know. Whether I can or not is another story, but it would work out well if I could. Okay. Okay. See if we can get this thing snapped in place. And this should just snap right into place. Like so. It's almost too easy. That is almost too easy. But that is too easy. It's way too easy. So now this thing now needs to go in on the other side. I got to put this other contact line in. Oh. This washer just came out. Let me put this back in place. Oh, no, I just knocked the screw out. So I got a loose screw here. Not trying to imply anything for myself. Let me actually tighten this down just a little bit so I don't have these parts falling all over the place because it's going to drive me up the wall. So let's go put the screw in there and just give it a few turns and tighten it down. See if I can get it to cooperate. Well, yep, that worked. Okay, that's in place. So now I'm going to just go ahead and just do the same on this other side. I believe that's the direction it goes in. The beveled edge coming out. But I don't think it makes much difference because it's the same assembly on both sides. There we go. That's all. That's not tightened all the way yet. I'm going to have to probably mess with this to get it open again. I just don't want the parts flying everywhere as I reassemble everything here. Let's now put this last connection in. This is pretty unique. These are the contacts again. Those of you not familiar with this design, this has been around for ages. These contacts make contact with the frame and send your positive and negative energy right to it from the trucks here, from 2 pickup points. They're held in place apparently on this model, from what I can tell, by this battery box thingy, which does need to be there. It actually serves a purpose. And that's in place. So now that's pretty much back together. Now I need to put this back in. Actually, let me not break that infamous rule of reassembling things too far because that usually causes problems. Let me just keep this reassembling as is. I'm going to put my board back in place while I have it. Well, this thing is like bent over here. That's not good. Hope I didn't just do that. I probably did, but it sucks if I did. Let's now just get this over here. Probably taking a better look at it before I did the disassembly, but I didn't, so have to wing it. Although I'm pretty sure that'll work pretty well here. That's in there. Let's now tighten things down and see if this thing will run. It was almost too easy, but it was way too easy. I don't have a headlight block thing still in place because I haven't figured it out yet. I'm not sure if this works, so I'm not doing that until I know this little plastic thing for the headlight. I'm not putting that back until I know what's going on with it. Let's go ahead now and just tighten everything up here. Okay, it's back together. Let's now grab my track here and zoom you back out so it'll make sense. Let's go to 1. There we go. Gonna power my transformer up and see what happens. What's nice about using the stock board, if this blows out, it blows out. It's not a big deal. I would be replacing it if I would put this engine in service. Either way, let's see if this SD40-2 will run after a very minor repair. Let's actually turn the throttle off from full. That would really help. It'll take this thing a while to power up. It always does. There it goes. Something isn't making contact correctly, but let me just... Oh, yeah, that worked. It worked, but the contacts here suck. Okay, let me go mess with this a little bit more. Oh, I see what's wrong here. Oh, noob mistake. This goes underneath them. This goes underneath that thing. I mean, oh, for goodness sakes. You can tell I'm sick, right? Yeah. I forgot to put... You're supposed to put these These things have to be underneath these... I'll show you again. This little contact pickup has to be beneath these metal alignment plate thingies right here. I'm just going to do a quick little dirty job here and get this in place. But yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. This little holder thing is supposed to be right on top of the contact so it has pressure. And so it maintains contact with the wheel, with the pickup on the... with the pickup nub on the wheel itself. So, let's try this again. That should work very well now. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Now. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It really isn't Frankenstein. This is really, all I did was lubricate it and it worked. So, yeah, that was really all the problem was. I'm tempted to put a little oil on these gears here just because, or just maybe a dab of grease. But I think for this one, I'm going to leave it like this. It doesn't look like these specifications call for it on these models. But, yeah, that was all it was in the end. You know what? Just for the heck of it, I have my oil out. I'll just put a tiny drop on the worm gears. Can't hurt. There we go. And with that, I've made this non-runner a runner. So, in the question of number... SD40-2 CSX SD40-2 number 8186. Will it run? The answer is a resounding yes. Now what I'm going to do for the time being with this unit, I'm not ready to put a decoder in this just yet. I'm waiting for the parts to show up. I'm going to put this back together and store it. And then when they do show up, I will now complete the overhaul on it and get it to DCC capable and start using it. For the time being, back in the box you go. Not demeaning it, just keeping it safe so I don't lose it. So I'll do it. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this short little video of will it run? And again, the answer is yes. I've got one more engine here, which I may get started on right away. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please subscribe, as it will help me greatly. And as always, keep the metal side down.